This next story comes to us from Stratcann, and the headline on it says, Conservatives' Cannabis Contradictions on Full Display in Rogan Poilievre Interview. Now, American broadcaster Joe Rogan hosted Canadian politician Pierre Poilievre on his podcast on March the 19th, in which they briefly shared a surprising agreement on the value of legal cannabis. The surprising part for Canadians who don't have the political memory of a gnat was Poilievre's agreement with Rogan on the topic and principles of cannabis legalization. Despite Poilievre's agreement with Rogan that the government should not be preventing people from consuming something like cannabis, cheeseburgers, or whiskey, he and his entire party, save for one who was punished for it, voted against legalizing cannabis in Canada. The Conservatives, including Poilievre, not only voted against the bill that legalized and regulated cannabis here, but they also opposed the process at every step, refusing to even improve or refine the bill during a series of House committee hearings as it made its way through Parliament. Now, Rogan mentions to Poilievre that Canada has legal cannabis. Rogan then expands on his thoughts on why cannabis should be legal. He says, it's not heroin. It's not like opiates, Rogan tells Poilievre. It's not like maybe you shouldn't do it if you have mental problems, right? But there's a lot of people that just like to take a gummy, just eat a gummy and go to bed. And it makes them sleep better. Like, leave them alone. Like, leave people alone. Let people have a glass of whiskey. Let people have a glass of wine with dinner. Leave them alone. This is what Rogan says to Poilievre. Now, at this point, Poilievre interjects to say, that's my philosophy. Rogan continues, like, stop coming up with laws where your judgments on other people. Poilievre continued to agree with Rogan, ironically, given his vote against that in regards to cannabis. A more insightful interviewer might have, instead noticed that this is a striking example of the huge gap between the Conservative Party's rhetoric and its actual policies. A leader from a political party that consistently opposed cannabis legalization actively avoided contributing to or amending the legislation, and instead relied on fear-based messaging about the potential for social collapse, is now espousing principles of personal freedom, limited government, and the dangers of government overreach. During the interview, Poilievre was paraphrasing words on the principles of freedom and liberty from a powerful slave owner. Meanwhile, those rascally, meddling, nanny-state liberals, and even worse, Gasp Trudeau, actually took the difficult and politically risky path of ending nearly a century of government-imposed morality. Rogan should do his research before interviewing a politician and learning the stances on these topics. He's just there for entertainment purposes or to help specific voices push specific points and narratives. Perhaps one day, one of these conservative politicians will govern in ways that mirror how they talk when they're on a broadcast.